actually here at the Solid Terrain Modeling booth with Lawrence Faulkner. And Lawrence, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about Solid Terrain Modeling and what we're actually seeing here that you have at the ESRI User Conference.
Solid Terrain Modeling is a small company that was started 10 years ago basically in my garage. It was a hobby project that got out of hand. I was working for a heavy earth moving contractor and building digital elevation models for estimating purposes when I thought it'd be fun to get this data out of the computer and onto a table where multiple people could interact with it simultaneously. So that was sort of the genesis of the company. My buddy figured out a way to print an image onto the top of a physical model, and that results in this sort of a photorealistic view from the sky rendering of terrain, and it can be anything from 100,000 scale, like the piece that you're looking at here, to 1 inch is 20 feet. So just depending on the density data, we can use our process to render that and allow people to interact with it more naturally than they might with a virtual on-screen model.
Well, that's interesting too, because the models are really amazing, and when you see them up close, the detail is really great. And often at the conferences like this, we see more and more emphasis on digital virtual globe and things like that. So where is kind of the niche for solid terrain modeling? Where do you see it most being used?
Our primary customers really, in terms of volume, is the U.S. military. And they have sort of the critical mass of need and time pressure and really critical decision-making requirements. What we find is that our typical customer is one that has an event for which information has to be passed quickly and a decision has to be made, and the stakes are relatively high on the output of this decision. So we do a lot of litigation support, aircraft accidents, fires, floods, landslides, that sort of thing, for presentation to a jury. New development renderings for presentation to a planning commission or a city council, something like that, or design review before the purchase of a property that may have a tentative map recorded for it or something like that. So when the stakes are high, the stakeholders are diverse in terms of where their needs lie, and that maybe there's a high level of trust, maybe there's a low level of trust. The terrain model tends to be the most trusted form of geographic information presentation because it doesn't flip around and change shape and size and color and layers without your permission. It sort of sits there and is the independent platform upon which you can tell a story. So national parks and visitor centers and that sort of thing are also a very common usage, and they have a high need to communicate geographic information to a very diverse audience, from children to the retired traveler.
Now, actually, you have a presentation here where, as you just mentioned, you can tell a story on top of these. I wonder if you could show us a couple of the overlays you're actually showing people, ways in which they can add information on top of the model.
Sure. Because the models are in a specific projection and scale, we can actually align projectors to those same extents and add GIS layers as projected images onto the colored model. And it's sort of remarkable that a green and blue model, you can project yellow and red and orange onto it, and it still looks yellow and red and orange. So you can still decipher the overlaid colors. In the center here, there's a little area that we use simply for the legend, if you will, and that's a removable piece. So the city boundaries are a very typical GIS layer. We turned those on and just we set the data layer in ArcMap to the extent of the projection and then export these frames and then run them as a slideshow. And you can narrate them and pause them quite simply you could even do this with PowerPoint. Once you have your slides prepared, you could sketch using any of the paint programs, essentially using the stylus right onto the model. In terms of adding animated layers or additional data sets that would not necessarily be needed all the time and therefore not printed in the base map. This is sort of the effect of 8 projectors tiled to form an almost seamless overlay on top of the model. In this case, we're showing the NOAA weather forecast data that they've just started to publish as shapefiles, attributed shapefiles. So you can add these layers to your GIS quite simply.
So really, it's an integrated solution where you can use your GIS and then have one of these models, and really it is a very powerful presentation tool. And so for those of our listeners out there that would like to get more information about this, where can they go?
Oh, our website is www.stm-usa.com, and we're located on the West Coast in Southern California. If anybody's in the area, they're welcome to come by and say howdy, and all our contact information is on the web, stm-usa.com. It's a happy business, and I'm really glad to be in it.
The models are very impressive, so thanks very much, Lawrence, for talking with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Ooh.